You're listening to the Joyful Practice for Women Lawyers podcast, episode 275. Welcome to the Joyful Practice for Women Lawyers podcast. I'm your host, Paula Price, lawyer turned certified executive coach. This podcast was created to empower women lawyers just like you to create a life and practice you love. Join me every week for a break from the hustle so we can focus on you, what you truly want, and how you can create it. If you're over the overwhelm, done with putting out fires, and ready to redefine success on your own terms, you're in the right place. Ready for today's episode? Let's dive in. Have you ever felt like it's time for a change? It starts with whispers, barely perceptible, right? Almost like hints that maybe it's time to do things differently. And those whispers get a little bit louder and they turn into questions. Are you on the right track? Are you doing the right thing? Do you like what you're doing? Do you want to do this? How much longer will you do it for? What else is out there for you? And those questions then prompt that reflection, that deep, deep reflection, right? You start to get to know yourself better, right? You're starting to understand, okay, I can see where things are not quite lining up. And when you go down this road, what you might find is that you're moving away from one thing and you're moving towards something else. And you don't always know what that something else looks like, but you know you're open to it until one day when an opportunity crystallizes and you know that the right next step is to move away from what you have been doing and to step into something new. Some people describe that as a full body yes. I share this with you because this is me right now. And it's funny because as much as I spend my days helping others through their transitions, the transition now is my transition. And it's something that I have been thinking about for a while, and there's transition on a few different levels, and I'm excited. I'm excited to share it with you, and I'm excited for the changes that are coming up in my life. And in today's podcast episode, which you will gather from the title, is the last episode that I'll be recording, maybe forever, but certainly for a while. What I'd love to do is share a little bit about me and what's next for me. And I'd also love to just honor and share a bit about wrapping up this podcast. So I'm going to start with me and let you know that what I am doing is shifting gears in my career. Since 2017, and really over the last 8 years, it took me a year to get qualified to become a coach. I have been committed to coaching lawyers as an independent coach, and I have grown my practice, the up-level lawyer coaching practice. I've offered courses and trainings and coaching and speaking and all of that to lawyers, to law firms, to bar associations, to professional organizations that support lawyers. And I have developed a beautiful practice where I feel privileged to do the work that I do. I feel privileged to have the clients that I have been working with. I feel privileged to have had the conversations with lawyers and the professionals who support lawyers. Really, really impactful conversations. These are confidential. I feel like I've had a lens into the lives of so many incredible people. And for that, I am truly grateful. I feel very, very blessed. And that journey began back in 2017, as I mentioned a moment ago. And I would say at the time, the reason for going out on my own was driven 90+% by my kids. They were 3 and 5 at the time. And my presence at home was really important for our family. And so I decided that I would be a professional who would work from home. And this was before COVID. And what COVID did was level the playing field between those of us who were working from home and everyone else who was in an office. And if you've worked on your own, if you do work on your own, for some people, it's amazing, right? They absolutely love the freedom. They love the ability to get to work. They don't miss people. And while I have a strong ability and a high threshold for independent work, I'll be honest with you, I find it hard. I find it very hard. And it's a hard that I chose on purpose. And it's a hard that I would choose again in that same set of circumstances. But I will tell you that throughout my journey as someone who's coaching independently, that's always been a struggle for me. And it's one that I have absolutely made the best of. And the years that I've spent as a practitioner, working on my own, being independent, have been amazing growth years. I have been as present as I possibly could be for my children while building alongside that work, building professionally. And that meant building my skill sets as a coach. It meant building my relationships with people in my community. It meant building my ability to speak in public forums. And it taught me so many lessons. It taught me the value of being a self-starter, of taking initiative, of making yourself do things that are challenging and hard, and to push myself way out of my comfort zone as much as possible. I had opportunities to meet people, to coach, to speak, to attend conferences, to learn that have completely changed the way that I look at the world. I have, through coaching and through being coached myself, come to understand that at a deep, deep level, we are all wired for growth. And how we are motivated at different stages of our lives and at different times may involve different things. And I think there's always a hunger in each of us for that next thing. And I think one of the secrets to creating a joyful practice, which really is what my work is all about, finding the joy in your work, is developing the skill and the capacity and the discipline, frankly, to choose to love the process itself, because the process, no matter what way you slice it, can be really challenging. So this leads me to the episode that you are listening to, that I am recording, about the transition that I'm making. And after years of practicing on my own, I've made the decision to join a law firm as their director of professional development. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. I am stepping into the role on a gradual basis because that allows time for me to fulfill commitments that I have made in my practice, and I want to fulfill those commitments. And also jumping into the role to take care of the aspects that are relatively time sensitive. So it's bittersweet, right? In that I'll be wrapping up some of the work, well, most of the work actually, that I currently do. That's work with lawyers and professional organizations that I love dearly, but I will be joining a team of incredible professionals, and I will have the opportunity to really support and learn and develop and contribute to a community that is the law firm. And I've been in office for most of the past week, getting up to speed and learning from my predecessor and transitioning. And that means I've been going downtown. I've been putting on dress clothes and shoes instead of slippers. And I've been taking transit and Ubers, and it's different and it's exciting. And I have felt a change. I felt a surge of energy, and it's the right move. I can absolutely feel it, and I'm excited for it. I'm really, really excited for it. So things I love. I feel like I'm part of an organization, a team, a community, a group that is a force that is bigger than me, right? When you do pretty much most things on your own, there is a freedom to that. There is a joy in that. And there's also a certain feeling of coming home when you realize that you get to be part of a team, that there are people who are all on the same page and working toward the same things as you. And that's exciting. I'm thrilled to be supporting lawyers within their workplace. I think one of the things that I've absolutely loved as a coach is the opportunity to support lawyers and law firms. And I would say the relationships that have really impacted me the most are the ones where I have the privilege of working on a longer term basis with lawyers. So year to year instead of week to week. And I love that. And I feel like this is an opportunity for me to really be a part of that, right? To be alongside lawyers and to have regular contact with them and to really understand how to support them. So that to me is really exciting. And I say lawyers, that will also include students, summer students, articling students. And this to me really is at the essence of what I'm trying to do, right? I'm really, really genuinely to the bone excited about this. And it's so funny because I was thinking about it. And if the students that I support, right, that I nurture, the associates that I help develop and all those things, if I do my job well, they will eventually become the stewards of the law firm, which is pretty incredible. And certainly because lawyers move, students move on, all those types of things, no matter what, there is this absolutely, it's a privilege to play a part in the professional development of lawyers. I truly feel that. And so I'm excited that I will continue doing that work in a different medium, a different capacity. Now, one of the things, and I think it's kind of interesting to note, that's why I'm sharing it, that I was scared of, was working downtown again and the impact it would have on my kids. And right now, school's out. It's summertime. And so my kids are actually, they're doing summer stuff. And part of that is camping out at the grandparents part-time. Part of it is, being away. Part of it is hanging out with their friends that are visiting from out of town. So it's not a reflection of what the school year will be like. But if the last week has been any indication of what I can expect going forward, the fact that I'll be working downtown is actually more of a bonus at this stage than a drawback. And I say this because my kids have been downtown to visit. I've actually taken them to the office, and I'm actually more than delightedly thrilled to say that they seem to like coming downtown. And the idea that they can come and meet me for lunch on a professional day, or maybe take the bus after school and come meet me downtown, or just there is this other place. It seems like it's actually opening up more doors for them than closing doors. And so that's been an unexpected gift, and fingers crossed that actually continues because, it's early days. And so I might be getting ahead of myself, but touch wood. This is pretty fun. So that's me. That's my update. And thank you for indulging me and letting me share that. And I hope that we stay in touch, right? If you've been listening, or if this is the first time you're listening and you're intrigued and you go back into episodes and you think, I'd like to connect with Paula, please do. I am committed to supporting you, to staying in touch, to encouraging you. Please reach out on LinkedIn if we're not already connected. I'd love to be LinkedIn friends and follow each other professionally. You'll see updates from me soon, I'm sure, with more details about what I am doing. And like I said, I remain committed to supporting lawyers in the work that I do. I think throughout the podcast, throughout my coaching, there have been very strong themes of, what really started with transitions and helping lawyers find the right career path for them, helping them navigate some of the challenges that are inherent to the practice of law, particularly private practice, because that's my background. That's what I know. And so that's where I really started to reach out and support people. That also has evolved to women lawyers, right? I think that has been a focus of mine throughout because I am a woman lawyer. And I know how challenging it can be, especially given some of the constraints that you might face in many different ways, including even when you decide to start having small children around and you're thinking, how do I make it all work, right? Confidence is another theme that we've tackled on the podcast that I've supported lawyers with in real life. This is a difficult profession, right? The standards can be so high. And how do you navigate that? How do you live with those standards and still feel confident, right? It's a challenge. We've talked about leadership, right? What that means, what it means to take ownership of your practice. And I think one of the most impactful lessons that I have learned as a practitioner on my own is just how much it matters to take ownership. And I've noticed a big change in myself. I'm so much more willing to take ownership, to take initiative, to self-start. And I see the value. I see the value in relationships more than ever, right? With AI being what it is and the conveniences of that, I see people and the relationships people have with people as being so important. And I think I said that on my podcast last week when we was talking about Mexico and kind of balancing the old versus the new. And in a way, this is what I'm doing now, right? I'm going to an IRL workplace as opposed to my more virtual workplace, which again has served me for all the things that I wanted, right? I wanted to be able to work from home and be more present for my kids. And the internet has allowed me to do that. God bless Zoom. Thank you. And also, I'm really noticing that the ability to connect with people in 3D, it's having a pretty positive impact. So where am I going with this? Topics, leadership, relationships, and time management, of course, has been central throughout. I'm hugely interested in all things time management. I'm in a time management, it's like a video game right now. There's so much on the go right now. So I feel like I'm using all the tools and skills and everything to keep my head on straight and to get organized. And I just don't see myself not doing that in the future. I know I want that to be part of what I do. I love it so much. How do you get things done? How do you leverage your executive skills? How do you support neurodiversity, right? I mean, that is something that, I just want to keep learning. I just want to keep supporting. And so that's kind of where I'm been leaning. And so I really hope that if you're wanting the resources that are in this podcast, that you access them, right? I have no plans to take the podcast down. I will keep the episodes alive that are available on all the usual places. And so you can use those as resources. If I somehow manage to create the time, I don't know that I will. I would love to create a better catalog for the episodes so that they're easier to find, so they're easier to organize. And I think AI might be able to help me with that. I know that there are lawyers who have sought out their own CPD credit by listening to episodes of the podcast and then applying for credit for listening. So you can do that. These episodes are a resource for you and for anybody that you refer to the podcast. If you have doubts or challenges or you're second guessing yourself, you're not alone. And the reason for this podcast largely is to give voice to some of the challenges and struggles that I see lawyers deal with privately, and I include myself in this category, and giving a public forum so that you don't feel alone. You don't feel like you're the only person this has happened to, so that you feel supported and so that you realize that there are resources and no matter the challenge, there's a way forward. You will also find interviews on the podcast with absolutely extraordinary lawyers and professionals who share wisdom, stories, inspiration, lessons. I mean, there's so much there. So please do go back and look at those episodes. I am honored to have hosted such incredible guests. I feel deeply, deeply honored. And I love that we have recordings of the conversations to go back to. It's funny because I've traditionally publish the podcast on Wednesdays, and every Wednesday morning I go for a walk and listen to the podcast episodes before I write my newsletter, which I'll probably also wrap up, perhaps indefinitely. And the episodes that had conversations, that had interviews, were always my favorite to listen to because it's like I got to relive those conversations and it was so much fun. So go back and listen to those. There's some really good ones, some career examples, some lessons, writing, interviews, home organization, all of it. It's all there. And that's that. I don't anticipate that I will resume the podcast is possible. If I do, it will probably look a little bit different. I love that I am supporting women lawyers, and that is absolutely part of my coaching. It's part of what I do. It's part of what I will continue to do 1000%. But the drawback of having women lawyers in the title is that I feel like I've inadvertently excluded others, and that was never really my intention. And so I think if I do resume some version of a podcast, it will just have a different name. And I think what I really want is for it to feel like it was designed for everybody, anybody who wants my support, right? And I think if you've read my post on LinkedIn or you've listened to the podcast before and there's something in there that clicks with you, you're kind of like, yeah, she gets it. You're my people, right? And so I just want to make sure that whatever iteration may materialize, that you feel absolutely welcome. And of course, everyone's welcome to listen to this podcast. I hope they do. So I think that's all I have to share for now. It's interesting. This podcast has been almost a diary of my life since 2021. I think the first episode was in April 2021. So it's been 5 years. It is a very public forum for a very private person. I think I've typically kept myself. I've never been one for public speaking, but I've changed that because I wanted to. I wanted to make my message heard because I think it helps people. And I feel proud of the work that I have done. I feel proud of the work that you have done. I really sincerely hope this resource has been helpful. One of the things that has kept me doing this for the years that I have is that I meet lawyers who will come up to me at an event and they will tell me, I listened to this episode, it was really helpful, or, oh, I listened to your podcast, I really like it. Or I will receive an email on LinkedIn or an email to my email account saying, thank you for recording these episodes. This really spoke to me. And so that motivates me. That has motivated me for years. And I really, really hope that you feel like I'm speaking with you because I am, right? This podcast was designed for you. It's designed to support you. And so I'm proud of the body of work that we have. And I am absolutely proud of the work that all of you are doing. It is not an easy job. I know you're all so hardworking. I know you really love what you do and who you support. And it's sometimes challenging. It's sometimes isolating. And so I hope this has felt like home for you. And I want to thank you 100%. I want to thank each of you who has ever listened to an episode or recommended an episode or any of that, even liking a post on LinkedIn or even reading a post on LinkedIn where there's been some note of this. Thank you. I appreciate your support. And like I said, that's really what has motivated me over the years. I would also love to thank my amazing team at Digital Freedom Productions. They are the producers of this podcast. That team has included a number of different players over the years, but Devin, Janessa, and Angela, your hard work has been so very much appreciated. You have been flawless over the years. I have never worried once, is my episode going to publication? Will it be of sufficient quality? None of that. I record episodes about delegation and how hard it can be to delegate sometimes. I've never struggled with that because I've always just been so delighted with the work that you have done. So thank you for that. We have been recording episodes for 5 years. We've never missed an episode. And I appreciate your hard work. I appreciate your words of encouragement. I appreciate your support and responsiveness over the years. And so that brings us to the end. That's it. That's all I have to say. I want to ask all of you, suggest, recommend, encourage all of you to go out and find the joy. Find the joy in your life, in your work, in your relationships. Find the joy in the struggle, in the everyday, in the mundane, in the exciting. I mean, it's there to be found. And like I said, it's a skill, right? Finding what is enjoyable, even when it's hard. If you can learn to do that, you're set for life. And so I just wish that for you. Be kind to yourself. I think it is the most selfless thing you can do. And I've seen it time and again when we stop berating ourselves and criticizing ourselves and placing unrealistic expectations on ourselves and then being upset with ourselves because we haven't met those expectations. It doesn't create more joy for others at all. And so what I wish for everyone is for your inner dialogue, that conversation in your head, to be as kind and supportive and encouraging as it can possibly be. Truly, I wish that for you. Go after your dreams. If you're thinking about it, dreaming about it, it's kind of this nice to, would love to have in your mind's eye, go for it. You have permission. You don't need permission, but you have permission. And if you need my support, tell me. I'm here for you. Stay in touch. I wish you all the best. And I think that's it. I've reached the end of my notes. It's a beautiful evening because I'm cutting it really close for this last episode in terms of my deadline. It's a Wednesday night and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful blue sky. There's some clouds. There's some birds flying by. And I just feel grateful that we've had this time together. I will keep the podcast alive. I won't be recording new episodes, but you can go back and please do reach out anytime. I would love to hear from you. So with that, I'm going to wish you not just a great week, but I don't know, a wonderful everything. And I really do hope to stay in touch. That's all for now. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joyful Practice for Women Lawyers podcast.